How long do you think you'll do this for? As long as I am physically able to keep doing this and you guys want to keep watching what I put out, I will never stop. You will catch me at 67 years old, still cooking in this Defender. Okay, watch me. Seriously, watch me. I'll do it. Do you have any regrets getting Poe? Absolutely zero. None. I love this truck. It's one of my dream trucks. So happy I got it no matter what goes wrong with him. What do you miss about living in a home? I miss showering whenever I want to. I miss hot water because on the road you end up looking like this on day 5 of no shower, no bathing, and then you have to go bathe in a river. So it's like the only thing that kind of gets to me sometimes. I don't like to smell bad, you know? If you get another dog, when, what breed, gender, etc. I get a lot of questions about Blue and getting him another dog. I go back and forth on it all the time. Would I love another second dog? Absolutely. Was I super tempted when I was doing the Save the Puppies fundraiser series to adopt one of their res dog puppies? Absolutely. To be honest though, I think it's just too much for me right now. I have to be realistic about what I'm doing and where I'm going, and I'm trying to figure out in the future 5 years from now how I'm gonna get Blue to all of the places I want to go, so I just think it would be too much with 2 dogs. Would you ever get a van to travel in? No. I just prefer old 4x4s. Have you taken an Enneagram test? If so, what number are you? I specifically took this test after reading this question because I've never taken it before and I know nothing about it, but I got that I'm a Maverick, which is a type 8 with a 7 wing. Now I have absolutely no idea what that means. So if you guys are into Enneagrams, please comment below and let me know. Tell me about myself. I have no clue. How do you get shots of your car using your drone while driving? Like this. I'm gonna go slow. I'm gonna stay in first gear. And if it's too slow for the video, I can speed it up and post. And honestly, it looks natural. It looks like I'm flying when I'm not. So I don't really worry too much about how fast I'm driving, because like the most important thing is that I'm just being safe. So now I'm driving with my knee. Where did you adopt Blue from? Our dogs love looking up at the TV and watching Blue. That is so sweet. Blue was not adopted. He was given to me as a Christmas gift. So yeah, he just showed up on my doorstep one day. Best day of my life. Collab with other YouTubers. Have you ever thought about it, and who would you collab with? I am such an introvert. I would have to be invited by somebody else, but I would totally be open to it depending on like who it is and if I think the content makes sense or whatever. I'm definitely not against collabing. I'm just always in my own little world in the woods somewhere, so it's not something I would probably like seek out from somebody, but if I was invited, sure. It'd be fun. At the beginning, did you have savings or remote job, or did you have no idea of your future income? I was living off of savings and I had zero idea about future income. I was really just winging it. Hashtag roaming reckless, you know what I mean? When you come to Hawaii, what island would you visit? I have been to Oahu before and I loved it. I still want to go back to North Shore like every day of my life. But I don't know. I would have to look at all the islands and see what is probably most camping friendly, but I would love to go back to Oahu if possible. We'll see where I end up. Will you do a trip to the UK in Poe or another Defender? Definitely plan on doing a trip to the UK, and I would have to bring back Poe. It's his homeland. What are the best 2 lessons the road has taught you so far? 1, be adaptable, because everything is going to change at all times, and it's probably never going to go as planned because of Murphy's Law. 2, be proactive. Do your preventative maintenance. Do your research. Look into things. Do your research. My dad left this question. Maybe you guys can see where I get my innate confidence from. Miss you, Dad. Love you. When planning where to go in a given state, what causes you to choose one place over the other? It really just depends on where I need to be. So the way I plan out the road trip is it's all a rough draft that's constantly moving. So I like to put myself in certain regions of the country in different seasons based on temperature, comfortability for me and Blue, that kind of thing. And then I'll start plotting specific things. Obviously, I have places to go that have a specific date in mind, like Overland Expo, or I'm meeting up with a friend on a certain date, things like that. And then I kind of just fill in the space between where I am, where I need to be, and how much time I have. When it comes to like specific campsites, I'm usually always looking for service so that I can upload on my hotspot. I'm looking for somewhere where Blue can be off leash and have fun. Look at my baby. Looking for good temperature, a clean site, space, like privacy away from people so that I can film. Honestly, temperature has a lot to do with it. I don't like the heat. How do you you handle loneliness if you experience it? I do not experience loneliness. If I did not have Blue, I'm sure that might be a little bit different, but I don't get homesick. I don't miss people. That sounds bad, but I just, I love everybody in my life, you know, but I just don't get lonely. Like, I'm always content. I'm always okay. I'm obsessed with my family and friends and very excited to see them when I do, but I just don't get sad or depressed if I'm alone for a very long time. I'm weird. I don't know. Do you have a timeline for the 50-state road trip or just going with the flow? 100% just going with the flow. Obviously, I'm probably not going to be doing the 50-state road trip for like 10 years. I would assume within the next couple of years it'll be wrapped up, but just however long it takes. Right, Bubby? Are you more like your mom or your dad? I would say I have attributes of both. Oh, what are you whining for, Bubby? Come here. Come on. What I get from my mom is like my blind optimism and my view that everything is going to be okay. My positive attitude, that's 100% my mother, and everything else is my father. I'm kind of like my dad's twin in a lot of ways. What is your definition of your perfect guy? Biggest thing for me is integrity. Do you do the right thing when nobody is looking? Are you a loyal person? I'm probably the most loyal person in the world. Okay. Just me out here by myself. So I look for somebody like that as well because I just can't deal with these games. Everybody wants to keep playing. Are you funny? Can you make me laugh? That's huge. And are you ambitious? Like, do you have goals that you're going after and you're constantly trying to better yourself and improve, and are you working on yourself? Do you like personal development? That's pretty much my criteria. And you have to love Blue, obviously. If you don't like my dog, good luck. Good luck. And you have to love Jesus too, which I should have said first, but in my brain that's like a given, but I should have said that. Okay, moving on. What are your biggest insecurities? Biggest insecurities. I'm pretty innately a confident person. I was just kind of born self-assured. I would say I'm worried for my friends and my family that I see often, or like that I spend a lot of time with. I worry that I annoy them to death. So maybe I constantly worry that I'm a bother, because like my biggest fear is being a burden to somebody. So I would say that's an insecurity, right? If you could not live in Poe anymore, what would you live in? Honestly, if something happened to Poe tomorrow, like let's say he got totaled, God forbid, somebody knock on wood, I would just call Joel and get another Defender. That's the truth. Some of my other favorite vehicles, though, are like old 60s Toyota Land Cruisers. Obviously, the 70s Bronco has always been my number one. Old restored Bronco's always been my number one, but I think I'll just stick with the Defender for now. But anything like old, boxy, I would love a Scout. Oh my gosh, an International Scout, that would be so cool. Are you able to have a serious relationship with the roaming lifestyle? I have gotten so many questions around the topic of dating and relationships. How do you handle it on the road? Obviously, you guys have heard me talk about being in relationships in the past. I have been doing this since 2017. What I will say is it is a long distance relationship, right? Especially if you're somebody like me where you travel full time and like you're on the road, you're not just car camping or truck camping around like where you live, that kind of thing. What can be difficult about it specifically to this lifestyle is the fact that a lot of times you're out of service, right? So it's like, how can you make a long distance relationship run smoothly if all you have to do with each other is communicate, because you can't hang out in person? So you really only have calling and texting to connect with each other, and then you're constantly out of service, you can't talk to them. So I can see why it can be difficult. It definitely can be done, but it takes a very specific personality type to date somebody who is traveling full time and on the road like I am full time. Can it be done? Yes. Is it very difficult? And does it never go well in my experience? Yes. Doesn't mean it can't be done. I think you just have to find... you just have to find your person. That's all. Any vlogging plans after the 50-state road trip? Psh, you guys. The plans I have after the 50-state road trip... Stay tuned, okay? Roaming Reckless is gonna get wild after the 50-state road trip wraps up. Okay? That's all I'm gonna say. We are just getting started. Do you find it hard balancing life stuff with work stuff as a traveling creative? Yes, I do. I do find it difficult. Sometimes life can get really hard, and then it's just hard to translate that on camera. And then also those hard times affect your creativity. So it's like when maybe I'm just fully stressed out and there's a lot of moving parts, and like right now I'm kind of in a phase like that. It's kind of hard for my creativity to take off, if that makes sense. So then I get stuck in a rut and it just snowballs, and then you don't like the work you put out, and then that gets you in a bad mood, and then your videos don't do well, and then that puts you in a bad mood, and then you just feel like everything's like tanking when it's not. You're just hitting a rough patch because life gets hard sometimes, and that's okay. In short, yes, it is tough. If you weren't doing van life right now, what would you have been doing instead? I would 100% have been doing one of two options. It would have been me living abroad in Ireland or somewhere in Europe, working for the Travel and Tourism Board, so somewhere abroad doing travel-y things, or I would have been a horse trainer at a ranch somewhere. Those are the only two options other than what I'm doing now. Or I would be a video editor for some sort of big something. I just thought of that. I would love to video edit for the rest of my life if I could no longer live out of a truck and have a YouTube channel. I would just be another YouTuber's editor. That's what I would do. When's the Alaska, Canada, Yukon trip? Soon, hopefully, if Poe cooperates. If he keeps breaking down, honestly, there might have to be a reschedule or a reroute in my plan, just because I can't afford to be stranded on the side of an Alaskan highway. Obviously, that's a risk no matter what I do, but hopefully soon. Where is your dream location to stay with Poe? Have you ever had any other pets? Love your vids. Thank you. My dream location in my life is just New Zealand. That's like a bucket list place for me. So getting there at all with Poe and Blue would be amazing. I don't know how feasible that is. England would be great. I think it'd be super cool to take Poe back to where he came from. I would love that. Have I ever had any other pets? Yes, I grew up with horses my entire life. Recently, up until 2021, I still had horses. So if I ever do get a home base in a central location for my travels, I will definitely get horses again. But other than that, it's just Blue. Right, Bubby? Hey, don't chew rocks. No. Bad for your teeth. No. Yeah, one pet is enough for me. If you didn't have Blue, would you still feel safe car camping alone? That is a very interesting question. I feel like I'd be fine. Safety-wise, like I'd feel okay, but obviously I feel like I can't necessarily say that entirely because I have Blue with me all the time. But I'm like blindly optimistic, and so I'm not a worrywart at all. I'm not paranoid at all. Blue does help me feel safer, but I think I'd be okay on my own. But I don't know. Why the Land Rover over anything else? Because it is the sickest, coolest truck in my opinion. It is capable. It's an iconic vehicle. This thing is so cool. Like, you can't tell me this thing is not cool. So yeah, it's just what I wanted. I don't know. How easy or hard is it for you to make friends? I love people, so in that regard, I feel like it's easy. I'm just super awkward and very introverted, so I'm not like so outgoing to the fact where like I'll go pursue making friends with everybody. But I feel like the people that find me and then I end up getting close to, I'm a friends for life kind of girly. Like, all of my hometown best friends have been since I was a child, you know, and they're all still with me today. So it's kind of like when I find a friend, I just cling on to you for life. And there's no leaving. So sorry, you're stuck. What was your hardest breakup like? My hardest breakup was actually a friendship breakup, not a relationship breakup, and it happened last year. It was nothing either of us did. It was more life circumstances why the friendship ended, but still tough nonetheless. Like, the hardest thing I've ever had to go through in my life. I still am learning how to live without that person because they were my best friend since I was 16, like family best friend kind of. Like, when they stopped coming around, like my whole family sort of had to mourn that friendship. So yeah, it was really tough, and that is a human I still love to this day and would do literally anything for. That person could call me up any time of day needing anything, money, they could need my Defender, like they could take anything, and I would just be like, absolutely, whatever you want or need. Friendship breakups are really, really, really hard, especially when there's like nothing you can do about it and it wasn't anybody's fault. Like, that makes it even harder. Like I said, still learning how to live without that person. That was like the closest human to me, like the closest human to me ever in my whole life. Like, to this day, I've never met somebody that knew me that well or I felt that safe with. And I feel like, just being real, wow, this is so deep. I feel like I search for that in every, like, friendship, relationship, family member, like any relationship in my life, I like still search for that level of safety and comfort and like somebody knowing you that well. So yeah, that friendship was definitely the hardest breakup of my life, and I honestly don't think anything will ever be worse than that. So, moving on. What are 3 bucket list items? That is a great question. 3 bucket list items. Buy a ranch where I can have horses again and make it into like a rescue, so I can rescue animals as well. 2, oh my gosh, probably my biggest bucket list like dream item in my life that I want to do before I die. I want to start a nonprofit organization that specifically helps single moms. Like I want to buy a row of houses and just let single moms stay there for free and get back on their feet and not have to pay a dime. And like maybe they could stay there for like a year through this program, get on their feet, and then they like move out, and then a new single mom comes in. I don't know. I really have a heart for it because my mom was a single mom for 8 years. So that is like a huge thing on my bucket list, to start an organization that helps single mamas. 3rd bucket list item. This is just off the top of my head, so honestly I should probably think about these questions more. Visit New Zealand? I'll say visit New Zealand. Okay. Why did you call Blue Blue? Were there any other names you considered? I did not consider any other names when I got Blue. I was like, oh my gosh, you are a Blue. I saw his blue eye and I was like, that's your name. You're Blue. But it's funny because I don't really call him Blue unless he's in trouble, like right now. Blue. Don't eat rocks, okay? Okay? Good boy. Since the day I got him, I've just called him Bubby. It started off as Bubba. I don't know why. The day that I got him, I was just like, Bubba, Bubba, Bubba. What are you doing, Bubba? And then that turned into Bub, and then Bubby, and then Bubsy, and then Bubby Bear, and then Bubberloo, and Pupperloo, and, you know, it always evolves. But he's Bubby more than he is Blue unless he's in trouble, right? Do you ever want to get married or have a family of your own? I believe in marriage. I could totally see myself getting married if I find the right person. I have no qualms with that. Kids, on the other hand, like my hands are full with Blue, you know? No, I don't know. I'm not against kids. I just know that I could live my whole life and be very, very happy without marriage or children. I'm very happy by myself, so that's not something I would have to feel like I've made it in life. I would just say that I could see myself getting married a lot sooner than I would see myself having children. Like, I would have to marry somebody who's like, I have to have kids or I won't be fulfilled in life, for me to be like, right. I just love my nieces, you know? I just want to spoil them, give them everything, and then hand them back. Look how cute my dog is. What's the most difficult part of putting a vlog together? I would say it's just the time-consuming nature of editing. I don't think there's anything super difficult about putting a vlog together. I am obsessed with editing. It's actually my favorite part of the entire process. A lot of YouTubers hire editors first. I wish I could just hire filmers to like set up my cameras for me and run around and get different shots that I want, and then I just edit everything. I love the process of creating a story from just a bunch of video footage. How did you learn to video edit? How long did it take you to feel competent at it? I have been video editing since I was a teenager because I always loved videography and like putting together slideshows for people and stuff like that. So I've been messing around with it since I was probably a kid. How long did it take me to feel competent at it? When I switched to Adobe Premiere, that was that was a learning curve. If you use Premiere, you know what I mean. But I would say it took me like 3 videos to really feel like I had a grip on things. And then after that, like, you learn something new every single time, or anytime you learn a new transition or you want to do something different with a graphic or whatever it may be, you're always learning. So, I mean, I still learn things to this day. Learning the shortcuts on Premiere is the best thing you can teach yourself and look up. Like, a few months after that, I felt like I could pretty much edit any project within a reasonable amount of time. But the longer you do it, the better you get. Like, I look back at my videos from last year and the way I edited and how long it took me to do stuff, and the way I do it now and how long it takes me to do stuff, and it's just crazy what a year of constantly editing and how you can improve. So I would just say, if you're trying to get better at it, just do more of it. If your mental health suffers at times on the road, how do you recharge and refresh? I am notorious for just going into the woods alone. I really go inward. I'm not like a verbal processor. I don't go out and I talk to everybody about when things go wrong. I just clam up and go inward. I go somewhere alone to camp and be with Blue, and then I read personal development books. I'm actually in the middle of a retreat week right now, so that's exactly what I'm doing. Also, I'm in therapy. I love my therapist. She just kind of helps me like plan out my life because I'm a bit of an overthinker and I stress about like the future. So she helps me if I get like too overwhelmed about what's going on over here. She really grounds me and helps me get back to being like present. But other than that, or just calling my dad is also like a guidance counselor in a way. It just really talks me off the ledge if I'm feeling overwhelmed or whatever. Those are kind of my 3 things. Also, this is a great book and you guys should go read it if you need a book recommendation. Also The Alchemist, also Chop Wood Carry Water, also The 1% Rule, and also Atomic Habits, and also The Subtle Art of Not Giving Up, and also The Magic of Thinking Big, and also Think and Grow Rich. That's my little book rec list for you guys. Okay. Favorite activity to do outside of van life? Horseback riding. That has been something I have done since I was 5 years old, and is probably the biggest passion in my life besides travel. But it was my first love, always will be. Hi, Bubby. If you started again, would you still get the Defender or a Toyota Land Cruiser? I would 100% still get Poe. I would do everything the exact same. I would not take Poe to the shop that I took him to last time because that is what caused a multitude of issues of them not doing things properly, and so now I'm having to fix all of that. But yeah, I would still get Poe. I think he's the best. I'm obsessed with my truck. 100% would still get the Defender. Do you miss Rue? I do not. Lightning round, here we go. Do you do your own eyebrows? Kind of, yes. Poorly. How are you making money on the road? YouTube. Favorite city in the USA? Grand Rapids, Michigan. Would you ever do a cross Canada tour? Of course. Who is your YouTube crush? Don't have one. Did you go to college? I did. I studied business and I minored in travel and tourism. Funny enough. Fuel mileage on Poe. Actually, I just calculated this a few days ago. Most recent fill up, we were getting 24 miles per gallon. Not too shabby, Poe. How often do you go back home? Absolutely every year for Christmas, non-negotiable, but I try to make it home probably twice a year, sometimes more, sometimes less. But always for Christmas. Always for Christmas. Can we go on a date? No, we cannot. Favorite band? The Beastie Boys. Obviously. Is there anything Blue is scared of or reacts to? 100% the drone. Blue's arch nemesis is the drone. Doesn't matter what kind, who makes it. If it's a drone, he's trying to take it down, okay? It's his life's mission at this point. Were you ever in love? Like, in my life? Of course. What keeps you motivated? The fear of being mediocre. Lakes or oceans? I'm a Michigan girly. Lakes all the way. What is your biggest fear? Irrational? It would be heights. Rational? It would be losing my parents or Blue. Or anyone in my family. That is like... Well, really, let me just generalize that to, like, anybody I love. It's, like, the scariest thought in the world to me. How do I buy a decal or a shirt? You can go to roamingreckless.com, and you can find merch there. We actually just did all new designs, so the merch is totally updated, and everything is, in my opinion, really cool right now. And then also we have limited edition 100K merch. Oversized tie-dye t-shirts. So cool. roamingreckless.com. Who is the most influential person in your life? That would be my parents. My mom and my dad are my best friends. That is my social circle. My parents. I am so cool. Will you marry me? Asking for everybody. That's gonna have to be a no from me. Thank you. Any plans to tour Ireland again? Absolutely. I would go to Ireland tomorrow. It's actually my favorite place on earth. Favorite East Coast versus West Coast state? East Coast, Maine. West Coast, Idaho. Have you hugged your dog today?
Yes.